Hello my friend, welcome back to Students Ace Life. I'm Fevette. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Today's video is about how to take better notes as a student, and more specifically, the 4 note-taking systems that I have found to really have helped throughout my high school career, and I really hope that they can be just as useful to you and help you study better. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to subscribe and also follow me on social media. I'm very active on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest if you want to follow along. So in middle school, the questions for the tests were so easy, and the classes and courses were so easy that all I had to do really was listen to the teacher lecture or talk about the content at least once in a while. It would suffice to just listen to the teacher once a month to actually pass the exam and do well. And I did very well in middle school. Fast forward to AP Bio freshman year of high school, and I quickly realized that I, first of all, don't know how to learn because I never needed to do that in middle school. And second of all, that I don't know how to learn complex material, and that I never had to study. I don't know how to study and I don't know how to learn. And that was the biggest slap in the face for me, because I thought that I was a good student, and now all of a sudden I wasn't as good as I thought. I lost a lot of confidence, and I started to struggle for the first time and waste a lot of time trying to study for this complex content that I was not accustomed to. I spent a lot of time looking through the textbook chapters that we were learning and reading and rereading paragraphs, trying to somehow make the information stick. And I would try to imagine the biological processes that I was reading about, thinking that that would make the information stick. But often the details that I needed for my class would slip through the cracks in my memory. In middle school, the questions were straightforward and required very little common sense. However, when I went to AP Bio in high school, the questions needed comprehension, application, and memorization, and I had no idea how to do any of those things. All I've used thus far was basic levels of human common sense, and now that was not enough. Nothing hindered me more in my first semester of high school than my attitude. I was so bitter, frustrated, and mentally fatigued. I was always thinking about how I sucked at something, how I would never get better, how I would always be stuck trying to understand it and never really get to the point where I do. And that mentality and that attitude really hindered my progress in many ways. And then I decided that I would not say that I'm really bad at something. I would stop my negative thought statements. Instead of saying, I will never be good at this, or I can't understand this, I started saying, I can't understand this yet. I can't understand this yet. I don't know how to do this yet. And that was the most transformative word that I've added to my dictionary and my language and my self-talk, because it gave me the ability to see that I could adapt, that I could mold myself and mold my traits and mold the things that I'm good at because of using this one word, yet. If I work on myself, if I use deliberate practice, if I apply the effort, the time, with the intention of mastering the skill, I can acquire it. Because there has never been a time or a story told in history where a person put in effort, time, and intention into something and did it consistently and not have mastered that thing. That's just never happened. And that was how I transformed my attitude as a learner. The first type of note-taking system that we will be discussing is structured notes. And this honestly came the most naturally to me when I first took AP Bio in my second semester of high school, because as you're reading through a textbook, which is what I studied the most from, you have topics and then you have subtopics. Under each chapter, there are a bunch of topics that you need to read. And so what I would do is I would take each topic and write 3 to 5 main points underneath that topic. And underneath each of those points, I would have as many subpoints as I needed. And those subpoints would mostly be details that I needed to remember, like pieces of data or specific facts about whatever topic I'm learning about. On the side margin, you would have little cues for yourself or questions that would be relevant to the notes that you took. And then at the bottom, you would have to summarize it, and you would have the broader big picture implication of what you studied or what you learned about. And this system was perfect for the AP exam at the end of the year, which I had to take for my AP Bio class, because all the topics were covered neatly in organized little notes, and then I would have questions to review for the test on the side that were answered on the notes, and I would also have the broader big picture implications of it underneath in the summary. And that was just everything I needed to be well prepared for the exam, which is why I highly recommend structured notes for any of you who are taking AP exams. Also, I did not know that they were called Cornell notes. I found that out later when I was researching. So after my somewhat successful experience with AP Biology freshman year, I moved on to sophomore year. And that was the first time I took a college level history class. And I was just as frustrated, as mentally fatigued, and as overwhelmed with the content as I was freshman year. I was not able to use my newly acquired system of notes, the Cornell system. I was not able to use that for my history class. It took me some 5 odd weeks to realize that history is by nature different than science. And so to learn that, I would need to study it or to acquire the knowledge by different means. And that's when I came across visual notes. Because history is really just a story. It's a story of the world's continuity and change over time. History classes are just trying to break down how the story is changing in each geographical location and in each time period. Like all good stories, there's a plot, there's a theme, there are events, characters, and points of view. And for me to be able to understand that, for me to be able to understand all of that content, I have to break down each aspect. I have to break down the themes, the events, the characters involved, and then bring it back together into one coherent whole. And this is where visual notes come in handy. You draw each aspect of the storyline. You make visual representations of what happened, when it happened, who was involved, why it happened. From whose perspective was the most widely accepted version of this story told? Illustrations, no matter how simple, are the best method to study history, because drawings portray a memorable narrative, and that is precisely what you're trying to capture in a history class. So you've got the big bio class, the big science class, and the big history class. And then there were classes that never fit either. Cornell notes were too structured and detailed, and then visual notes were too broad and generic to fit classes that were based on concepts, not facts or stories. Those classes were AP Seminar, Philosophy, Digital Arts, and Physics. Those classes weren't based on facts like AP Bio, and they weren't based on stories like AP Euro. What I had to do then was find a different system that can work for those classes. And what I came across are concept maps. Concept maps were the perfect fit for those kinds of classes. Although the classes that I just listed have very little in common, they do share one feature, that they are based on the application of certain concepts. Concept maps are just when you take one big concept, stick it in the middle in a big circle, and then you draw nodes into all the other related concepts, so you have a topic in the middle. And then you have things that cause it, things that result from it. The fourth and last system of note-taking are flow notes. Flow notes are the literal holy grail of the efficient student, because they help you maximize every moment you spend in the classroom. Most of us spend time in the classroom not actually doing work or studying, but listening to lectures and watching teachers give presentations on things that we are hopefully studying. So to maximize your time in the classroom and to benefit the most from it, and to potentially use it for your studying at home, flow notes are your best friend. Because what you do is, while the teacher is lecturing, while the teacher is giving the presentation, is you take notes right after them. You're actually engaging with the content. What you're putting on paper is the more authentic version of what your brain is actually experiencing. When you take notes after a lecture that is being given live, you have no ability to rewind, you have no ability to think and chew it over. You are literally recording, as you take notes, you are literally recording the process that your brain is going through. It works for all classes. It works for history, technology, language arts, foreign languages. There are no limits and there are no rules, just you and what you are given. As you have seen with my progression in high school as a student, how I dealt with my first big college level science class, and then my big college level history class, and then all these weird classes in the middle that I didn't know what to do with, and then how to maximize my time in the classroom. As I've dealt with those big struggles and with those big ideas, I came to the conclusion that each subject, each class is different. And so you have to use different means to attack it and to better succeed at it. Ultimately, taking good notes that work for the certain subject that you are studying is what makes you a good student. However, taking notes on its own does not get you to pass tests. Taking notes on its own does not get you an A+. What you have to do is review, and then you have to quiz yourself on the content. You have to use spaced repetition while you're studying and while you're learning it. And then you have to think about the broader implications of the subject that you are studying and the broader implications of the information and the facts that you are being given. What do they mean to the world at large, and what do they mean for you as a person? How do they apply to your life, to you, and to the people around you? This is the single most greatest advice that I can give you, and that will help you truly succeed as a student, and not just that, but as a citizen of the world, and all your endeavors, not just academic ones, but personal and social ones, is to think of things not in the specific detail that they are given to you, but in what they mean globally and personally. And with that, my friend, I hope that these note-taking systems were helpful to you. All right, I'll see you next time. Have a great day.